The Watershed Health Program is one of the priorities identified in the Clackamas County Service District Number 1 Watershed Action Plans. The Watershed Action Plans prioritize the work and services that are provided by the Surface Water Management Program, and the Watershed Health Education Program is one of the components of that. Currently, the Watershed Health Education Program includes 4 high schools from the North Clackamas School District: Clackamas High School, Milwaukee High School, Rex Putnam High School, and the Sabin-Schellenberg Center. In the future, we'd like to expand the program to middle schools and elementary schools with the help of the high school students. We've started that this year with the Clackamas Community College Water Education Day, where the students educated hundreds of elementary school kids on what they've been learning in the classroom, things like what a watershed is and what kids even at that level can do to make sure that they're protecting water quality and educating their parents at home on things that impact our local watersheds.
Well, the water event day at Clackamas Community College provided young people with an opportunity to see all the ways that their lives interact with the watershed out there on the landscape. And they got to learn how their water is treated and how magically it comes out without parasites in them, you know, in the tap water, and it's always safe to drink. They got to learn what happens when they flush the toilet and where it goes, and what separates now from the medieval times when we just threw our wastes out the window, and how that has affected in a very positive way now with water treatment, the health of humanity and the health of everything else out there.
Students also work with Solve and Friends of Trees, and with both of those agencies, they were able to go out into the watersheds and they pulled out invasives and they learned to plant trees, and they learned about the riparian zones and what they can do to ensure the continued quality of the water in their watersheds.
You can only teach so much about watersheds in a book, and Wes has definitely given us opportunities to get out and use those skills we learn in the classroom. So our work with Patrick and working with macroinvertebrates has definitely added new opportunities to the kids and taught them that by looking at a stream doesn't necessarily tell you everything, and getting in the water, doing hands-on things are so much more critical than reading out of a book, and the kids learn a lot more by being out there in the field working.
Something that we really specialize in is working with a lot of different partners, and we work with WES, Water Environment Services, in a number of different ways. We're part of the Clackamas Watershed Enhancement Team, which is a variety of partners. We work together with Solve and Friends of Trees through the Rock Creek Partnership, and we really believe that working with different agencies, different partner groups, we can get a lot more done than we would on our own. And there's not as much duplication of efforts. Everyone is on the same page, and it just means that we can make an even bigger impact.
And it's really important for the students too. You know, when I was in high school as a kid, I didn't get outside of the science classroom at all. And I just feel like it gives students that real, you know, hands-on, real world, this is how science can be applied in a career and in the field. And it kind of gives students that don't traditionally learn as well, which I feel like I was growing up, that don't learn well from the lecture style, a different way to learn about science. And I think that is really important too. And particularly Wes's partnership with providing school bus transportation and sub-funding is a huge help. That is a huge barrier to having schools come out on our restoration sites, is that they don't have that funding. So having that funding is really, really critical.
And one of the things that they did while they were down in the streams is they pulled out a bunch of trash. Along with the invasives, they pulled out all kinds of, like tons and tons of bags of trash. And some of the projects that they did. They not only created videos, which we show on our website, but they also created artwork, and some of the artwork is actually on display at Solve in their offices, and they wrote poems and journal entries. The students also participated in community events where they took some of the projects and artwork and poems and presentations that they did. They showed the community and they showed people at various activities what they were doing and showed that they were making a difference. So they not only spread the word to their own families and siblings and neighbors, but they also touched the broader community, and they told the story of how important the water was to them.
So we are on a site called Sunrise Wetland, which is on the Clackamas High School boundary line here on the north side of their campus. It's about 11 acres of what they call a wooded palustrine wetland, which is a rather unique type of wetland that grows, mainly ash trees throughout. So we use this as our outdoor lab in our environmental science classes. We start out the year doing an activity called a sit spot, and kids become very involved in their sit spot, and what they do is they have their own spot that they spend time in throughout the course of 3.5 seasons that we are here at Clackamas. And they come to know that spot very well, right down to the one child one time said, "Mr. Strofe, I keep seeing the same kind of bird in my spot." And he goes, "But I think it's actually the same bird."
This was my sit spot. I would come here and we would be completely silent. We'd listen to nature. We would write down any sounds that we had, like we heard, like animal sounds. There was a song sparrow that used to always come back and visit me every single time, and occasional blue jay. And also, the louder you are, really, the less you'll see of nature. And you won't, if you start making noise or moving around, there's nothing that's ever gonna come by. But if you stay silent, you sit there and be calm, you'd be surprised by what you can see.
So they become so aware of their surroundings that they're able to identify birds on an individual basis. So when they look out at this landscape, they begin to recognize when trash appears and when it disappears. They begin to recognize when an interesting smell when we get a bloom from surface runoff and the wetland occurs. And they start to make the connections very easily of the things we talk about in the classroom and see it happen out here on the landscape. When we talk about water filtration, when we talk about, the hydrology of the area, when we look into our water wells and we watch how the water level varies and how close to the surfaces it is in the spring and how far it drops below the surface in the fall. So they're able to stand here in years past and watch the whole side of Happy Valley develop and ask the question, is all that dirt going to cause a problem when it runs off down here, Mr. Strofe? So they're able to watch their community expand around them, and they start questioning about their spot. How is this affecting my spot? And I think that will transfer. I think that from now on, any kid that has a spot, because we all had spots when we were kids, whether we called them a sit spot or not, a place that we'd go, they get new spots. And once you get in the habit of having a spot and asking the question, how will that affect my spot? That's the seed that we wanted to cultivate in those kids. That is the cure right there. How is this going to affect my spot? How is it going to affect other people? The regular environmental science class, their focus is watershed restoration. They work with Solve. They work with Water and Environmental Services who sponsor and fund us in these times of public school funding. We have a lot of support to get our students out in their watershed and learning about it and understanding it. This year we piloted a little project on Rock Creek where we were looking at the effectiveness of using high school age students to do bioassessment, professional level bioassessment within watersheds. So using biological indicators to indicate the health of your watershed, which has been limited in the past because of funding at the county, state, and federal level to do that. But we go out with one expert And we teach 100 kids how to do this, and we sample more data than any of these agencies do in an entire year in just a few outings. So we're showing how the young people can really be a part of proper watershed management programs and learn and contribute to the community in the process.
As an instructor at PSU, I think the greatest thing about this project is that we get to get people from all different kinds of expertises on the field with the kids when they only get a few chances a year to get outside and see a stream like this as part of their curriculum. So it's really great that when that happens, we can have so many different people showing kids how to plant trees or showing them how to identify macroinvertebrates or measure physical characteristics like that. It takes a lot of expertise.
I think these kids are so lucky because they get to go out into the field. They are able to leave their classrooms. Wes provides the support so that they're able to have substitute teachers so their own teachers can be with them. They have bus transportation. We provide supplies and equipment so they're able to do water testing, and they get out there and they're learning and touching and feeling and getting to know their environment, and they're learning why it's important that they're learning what they're learning. And so what we do is, instead of just maybe going out for a week during outdoor school, our program provides them the opportunity to make a true connection with the outdoor environment and see how it affects their lives and how they can actually make a difference in the world so that the future, the water and the quality of the water is better for their children and their children's children.